My boss's star chef humiliated me during our restaurant opening. The next review exposed who actually created the menu. Chef Laurent raised his glass at our soft opening and sneered. I pray the tasting menu reflects my protégé, not the dishwasher. The investors chuckled. Laurent wears velvet blazers in a hot kitchen. That tells you everything. Every critique he gives is meticulously sharpened, sounding like advice but slicing like a razor. He severs arteries without leaving a single drop of blood. He earned his Michelin stars 20 years ago and turned that into a personality. From the day David brought me into their restaurant group, Laurent made clear I was not what he ordered. He walked through my prep station and muttered, "How resourceful. Very street food." He asked about my food truck background, nodding the way you pity a child explaining imaginary friends. He once tasted my reduction, spat it out, and whispered, "Interesting. Very strip mall." 3 years of insults wrapped in silk. 3 years of David sighing, "He's just old school." 3 years of swallowing my voice at tables where I was never welcome. Then the VIP investor tasting. Months of planning. Fermented chili glazes. Smoked mushrooms. A signature venison. It was bold and beautiful. It was mine. Laurent arrived 40 minutes early in a tailored tuxedo. Not a suit. A tuxedo. He rearranged my garnish stations because the layout was a little casual. By the time backers arrived, my pass looked like his bistro. Sweating in my whites, I wasn't turning our opening night into a battlefield. Then the toasts. Our sommelier cried. David made everyone laugh. Then Laurent stood, buttoned his jacket, held his Bordeaux like posing for a portrait only he could see. I want to say how excited we are. David has always been exceptional, and this establishment will carry that forward. He paused. I just pray the flagship dish reflects my protégé, not the dishwasher. His eyes drifted to me. He smirked. 2 suits laughed nervously. The dining room went dead silent. Heat climbed my neck and my vision blurred. Clinical, measured, engineered not to slaughter, but to remind you who held the cleaver. I forced a laugh because that's what you do when you're gutted in front of your backers. You swallow the bleeding so the service doesn't stall. David gripped my shoulder, didn't speak. The business equivalent of a white flag. That's when the real bombshell dropped. 6 weeks later, the Times Review published. The lead critic sat at my counter, and I watched him taste the venison. The charred crust, the deep crimson center, the chaotic, beautiful spice blend. It was my heritage. My grandmother's technique, the fierce ambition that skips a generation and lands exactly when needed. Even how he scraped the plate felt inherited. 3 separate bloggers said it before anyone. She's the true mastermind. Laurent stormed into the kitchen that evening, stood at the edge of the pass, looked at the framed review a long moment. At least the lighting photographs well. He clipped, adjusted his cuffs, asked about inventory, left. He didn't say the dish was brilliant, didn't say who crafted it. That silence was its own verdict. 2 months later, the James Beard Gala. The culinary elite gathered at the theater. Then Laurent's penthouse. He micromanaged every detail down to the crystal stemware. He couldn't micromanage what people said. One by one, legendary chefs cornered us. A Michelin inspector, that spice profile is your exact fingerprint. A famous restaurateur, the plating is your street-style elevation. Every compliment struck like a red pen correcting the false narrative Laurent had peddled for months. He smiled through everyone. The rigid smirk that traps all the venom behind grinding teeth. Then Chef Anton spoke. Laurent's own mentor. 81, gold watch. The kind of titan who speaks once and makes it the only verdict anyone remembers. He'd been swirling cognac in a leather chair for 10 minutes, silent. Then he set his glass down, looked up, not at me, not at David, directly at Laurent. The restaurant survives entirely on her brilliance, and that is a blessing. Nobody laughed. Nobody clapped. The room agreed in silence. Laurent stood by the grand piano holding wine, and for the first time in 3 years, he had nothing to say. 8 months later, he still drops by, still wears velvet when nobody asked, but he hasn't commented on my prep, my background, or my menu. There's a bronze plaque bolted above the main pass. My name, my exact vision. Laurent sees it every visit, never mentions it. That silence is the loudest thing he's ever served.